but more the mental and emotional. I mean, cops don't have like heart attacks because of eating too many donuts. They might have heart attacks because of the stress of the job. So I'd say it became more apparent after George Floyd when, you know, especially in the police reform cities wanted their jobs and all that stuff.
Behavioral Health Integrations Podcast strives to inspire the next generation of mental health and addiction specialists. Our aim is to continue to raise awareness and encourage collaboration in the mental health and addiction industry so that it will continue to thrive. There are numerous approaches to treating mental health and substance abuse issues. On this show, we take pleasure in showcasing the diversity of these approaches used to improve the lives of others. So without further ado, your host, Jacob Menig.
What is up, everyone? This is Jacob Menig, host of Behavioral Health Integration Podcast. I have to say I'm super excited because we have awesome and amazing special guest on my show, Justin, who is the owner of Blue Line Fitness. Again, Justin, thank you again for being on my show.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for having me. You underestimated it, or you didn't live up to the hype of when you're just like, I got this little intro, and I'm just like, da na 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 na. Yeah,
the flow going. Yep,
it's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, and again, I think you're my first law enforcement officer that I've ever had on my show. So again, thank you.
Really,
it's a tremendous pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, especially from being in Minnesota. I always try to put effort in getting more locals on my show too.
Are you from Minnesota?
Oh yeah, born and raised.
Where?
Mostly Twin Cities. I grew up like, let's say, like Shoreview, Brooklyn Park, Forest Lake.
I do Brooklyn Park. So I'm in the Minnesota Army National Guard, and I go to drill. I was just at Brooklyn Park this past weekend. That's where I drill out of. So yeah, I'm like near the Southeast Metro. So we definitely have to connect sometime. Man.
We do.
Holy smokes.
Yep. Well, speaking of you, so were you born and raised in Minnesota then?
Yes, born and raised in Minnesota, and then unfortunately, right now I pay my taxes to Wisconsin. But you know, I'm just on the other side of the river, so I'm right there. I'm a hop and a skip away from the Twin City metro area. But yes, born and raised in Minnesota.
All right, won't hold it against you.
I'm still a Vikings fan, so don't worry. So
there we go. Well, yeah, I mean, just starting off, I always love asking my guests how they got passionate in their field. Yeah. So as it comes to you, what really made you motivated and passionate about being in law enforcement? Like, was it a natural passion? Did you have family in law enforcement? How'd that get started?
So no family. Okay. This is going to sound really weird. But my favorite show in high school was NCIS.
Okay. All right.
With Leroy Jethro Gibbs. And like, for the longest time, I thought I was going to be a teacher because that's what my mom was. But when I was a junior in high school, sitting in like history class, because I was fascinated by history, but I'm like, no one of these kids, no one gives a damn about this. I'm like, do I want to be spending my life teaching a topic while I like it? These kids don't give a damn. And so I remember going home and I'm watching NCIS, and my mom, I spilled the beans with my mom. Like, I don't know what I'm doing for college. You know? I'm like in the spring semester of my junior year. She's like, well, you got to figure it out, right? You know, telling like a 16, 17-year-old kid they need to know what they do the rest of their life.
I know.
And I'm watching my show and I'm like, what about law enforcement? Now, obviously, being in the field, I'm like, obviously, there's a lot of things that are Hollywood. But I always get asked that on the interview. That's one of the main questions in the interview, like, why do you want to become a cop?
Yep.
And my answer was always, I wanted to be a superhero when people were in the most trouble.
Yep.
Long story short, this is also kind of segue into why I got into fitness. But long story short, like, high school wasn't easy for me. Like, when I say easy for me, I was from a small school.
Mm-hmm.
And I pretty much got bullied to a point where I thought I was no better than the dog shit on the bottom of someone's shoes. No one gave a damn. And it led to me having my dad's shotgun in the basement all alone, thinking like no one would give a damn about me killing myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess then I want to become a cop. One of the things, because like I hated bullies, and like now, and so then I wanted to help people when they were in the most trouble, just like when I was. So kind of fit into then didn't want to have a cubicle job, wanted to help people, kind of put bad guys away, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's like the helping people that are in need or who cannot defend themselves. And there's a lot of motivation and passion just from that alone. I mean, I can't imagine what you guys go through on a daily basis. It's just amazing what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's where even with like, just kind of the mental and emotional toll with the jobs. And I mean, even just when you talk about like even the conversation of suicide, but like, that's kind of one of the things with what kind of opened my eyes. It's not a shocker to people where the job can be physically, mentally, and emotionally demanding.
Yeah.
But what opened my eyes was in January 2020. Every year, departments have use of force training, an annual basis, sometimes semi-annual. And our training officer at the time was also peer support certified. Peer support, for those who don't know, think of like when there's an officer involved shooting, instead of talking to like a psychiatrist, where while they are licensed and while they have the qualities to do their job, cops may not trust that person because it's like, well, like, are you going to diagnose me with something, or can I trust you? So peer support, while these cops, including me, I got peer support certified. I'm not a licensed psychiatrist or a therapist, but like I can help out a peer talk to me when they felt like, oh shit, like this is one of the most stressful moments of my life. But anyway, in 2019, and the stats, I can't remember the exact ones, but it was about 145, 150 line of duty deaths. Think of shootings, vehicle crashes, pursuits, getting hit on the side of the road of a traffic stop. But there were about 230 reported suicides. Now I say reported because some agencies, because of depending upon how the life insurance policy is written, maybe they just want to write as natural causes so that the family gets life insurance, or perhaps the area is very, we'll say, religious, and there's like of the very beliefs that like, well, you're going to go to hell if you commit suicide. So we don't want to have this guy's reputation like that. So we're going to just say natural causes. So it could be even more. So I thought to myself, like, well, crap. I'm more than twice as likely to eat my own gun or kill myself than to be killed in line of duty. But we spend so much training, so much time into these 145 deaths, the way to avoid them, but not enough training. Suicide. Now it's gotten much better. It's not as much of a stigma. People are talking about it. But that was one of the segues, not only cops are dealing with it mentally and emotionally, but especially what transpired after the pandemic and George Floyd and BLM push and all that stuff. I'm like, well, now cops need more support more than ever.
Yeah. No, that's a really powerful thing, because again, I want to start working more with that population. And like kind of what you said before, is that maybe it's a trust thing where you have someone like me. I'm a licensed therapist, but that doesn't really help me when it comes to working with certain populations, because of, let's just say, that label. I can't tell you how many, even clients in treatment centers don't want to do assessments because they don't want to get a label of, let's say, PTSD, bipolar, schizophrenia, just because that label is just so powerful and it can have great negative effects on people.
Well, if you think about it from an administrative standpoint, think of like, okay, well, now can I lose my career if I openly talk to a therapist about this and now they label me as PTS? But I'd say just labels in general. So like if we label just even on now PTS and some of those things are a disorder or disease, whatever word you want to use. We'll take even from a smaller standpoint of what an emotional eater. I'm stressed. I work with students who are emotional eaters. Well, if I put a label on myself, if I tell you, Jacob, I'm an emotional eater, now a lot of my thoughts and beliefs and actions and words are going to support that idea that I'm an emotional eater.
Yeah.
So same thing with like, say like PTS. Now I'm not saying, again, I'm not on here to say I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that people with those, what you want to call it, a disorder or whatever, is have their challenges. But as soon as we start self-labeling and just keep saying like, I have PTS, I'm an emotional eater, or a smoker, I am a smoker, and you want to quit smoking, it's going to be that much tougher to get over the thing that you're not wanting to control your life. So it is just a continual process, a continual mindset work of, okay, yes, even if a therapist, a medical professional diagnoses you with a PTS or whichever, ADHD, whatever, I tell my students, like, while it may be a challenge, you don't have to live that way. Or they would talk about like, well, I used to be able to do all this stuff before this. I used to be able to do all this stuff before this. I agreed, where getting to that self of yours is going to be a challenge. But I don't know. I've seen people do amazing freaking things. So I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it is the first step of getting past that label.
I'm just curious, like, have you ever, I don't know, heard from other like people, like other police officers, where there's another factor involved where, let's say you do get a PTSD label or whatnot, are you concerned about what your peers might think of you or what your boss might think of you? Like, oh God, now they're gonna have to like worry about me now because I have this disorder. So like that being like another factor why they wouldn't want to tell people certain things, like they are struggling, they are going through some shit. And
from peers, no.
Okay.
Now, I don't believe so. Now, if it is it's you can talk to any cop, and I think like, and this is not even just police officers. I think it's just a lot of jobs where they get along with their peers, but they're like their bosses, or in this case, the admin. Oh, they are a-holes, or like, God, like this department. But at the same time, like I also know some officers who love their admin. So I guess to answer your question though, if someone's going to fear that, I would perhaps say admin if they feel like that they are in a department where they're not supported. Now, there's some officers who I know of that love their departments who may have a different opinion, like, hey, like our admin's going to back us up. But I would say if there is a concern, it may be from admin because of, well, then now you might be a liability to, I don't know, I work the road and that kind of stuff. And at the same time, where I know I kind of go back and forth, but it's getting progressively better, where like we're killing that stigma.
Yeah.
There's more support, where more offices and more departments are having contracts with these medical professionals, with these therapist groups who specialize in talking with law enforcement. Now it is up to the officer of how vulnerable they want to be, So when they do your yearly checkup from the neck up, you could just talk about hunting and fishing,
Mm-hmm.
not really get to the bottom of it, or you could just actually be vulnerable and talk about some of the challenges you're facing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it depends upon the officer, and it also depends upon the agency, but it is getting better of killing that stigma.
Okay. Good to hear. So I do want to back up a little bit and just correct me if I'm wrong when it comes to the process of being law enforcement. So obviously you apply, and then there's the police academy where you have to go through, right?
So every state and every department's different. So we'll take Minnesota.
Yep.
You're only going to go through an academy if it's for like Minneapolis, St. Paul, or the State Patrol.
Okay.
Because of Minnesota, they require that you have a 2-year degree. Okay. It used to be when, it always been like 2-year required, but then when I started applying like 10 years ago, it would behoove you to have like a 4-year degree.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't mandatory. Now, for states who don't require college education, there is more likely than like an academy process. So like when I first started out in South Dakota,
mm-hmm.
yeah, like there was I can remember like a 16-week academy that you went through. So, but yes, so if you don't go through college, then generally you have to go through some sort of an academy.
Okay. And don't you think that can bring on some stress too, depending on like what the academy life is like? But in a sense, that's a good thing, because then if you get through the academy, it kind of shows them that, okay, I'm ready for the next step of being an actual police officer. Or am I wrong?
I mean, well, one, the academy can weed out the people who shouldn't be there in the first place. It's kind of like your basic training for the Army. I mean,
can you give me an example of what that may look like? Like someone who would not be a good police officer, as in the weed out process.
Just like one, like their physical fitness condition.
Okay.
Now, while there are some people, in my opinion, being a fitness expert, that they're trying to lower that barrier of entry to get more people in. So while the fitness standards are low, there are just some people where if, I don't know, you're huffing and puffing after running 100 meters, probably not a good fit.
Okay.
I think of just even, whether it's just scenario-based training, and it could be some like higher stress stuff. I feel like it depends upon the academy too. Like I know some people, I've heard from like say State Patrol, it could be like very like military like. Like for Minnesota State Patrol, think of like in the winter where you're pushing like a van through snow. And especially to where, and that's kind of like the military, where if you have previous law enforcement experience somewhere, then you're going through an academy and you feel like that you're just treated like a grunt, perhaps that you just quote unquote can't handle it. But so I'd say more the academy, it's more, so yeah. So the stressful moments would be physical fitness, just being able to take feedback, especially that of being self-critical of every little action that you can or cannot do. While sometimes it may feel tedious, at the same time, like especially nowadays, more under a microscope. So one thing that's where I had to grow in my emotional fitness was accepting feedback.
Or constructive criticism, or
constructive criticism, right? Like, yeah. So like if some people, or at least for me, I'm talking from my own personal experience, where for me of gain constructive criticism, where like in a classroom on a test, you can study for, there's a multiple choice. I can study which is the correct answer. And a lot of this job, it's like, well, it depends. And so I felt like, like because I could study for these tests and I was like an A student, I'm like, okay, like I'm not saying cocky, but like I was confident in my ability. But now then if I'm quote unquote getting wrong answers on the street, or then I'd be like, well, I thought this would be the right way. And sometimes like you just have to kind of shut your mouth and just understand to like, hey, like, or at least for me, I need to shut my mouth and being open, like, that there's things that you can learn in a classroom and in books, and then there's kind of like real life scenarios. And that was a hard lesson for me. So
I do jiu-jitsu, and I have a couple old school cops that I do like jiu-jitsu with, and we were having similar conversations. And one, he told me it doesn't need to be constructive. He's like, if you fucked up that call, you fucked up that call. It doesn't need to be constructive. You need to be told what is right and what is wrong. And he was more like complaining about like maybe the new younger officers where they're too nice, they're too coddly, and they've been told that they're perfect all their lives. And now when they start the job, they mope and pout when they get yelled at or they get redirected and, so forth. So,
I mean, it's just like coaching though.
Okay.
What I mean by coaching is that like, I don't know, do you know basketball? So there's the Bob Knight.
Yes.
And there's a John Wooden. Both Hall of Famers. Bob Knight was a screamer and the yeller more militarian.
Yep.
But there was John Wooden, who was more compassionate. I don't really want to use the word graceful, but like, so there's different ways. So like, just like when I get a new student, so if you're a new student of mine, I'd be like, Jacob, how would you like me to coach you when you are doing it, when things are going well? And then they tell me how you want me as an example of an answer. Like, you don't need to be a cheerleader. I don't want to be like, woo, nice job. But still, what I also learned as a leader, what gets recognized gets repeated. So if I recognize you for doing a good job, then you will more likely repeat that. I mean, it's almost like training a dog. But I also ask my students, so like, how would you want me to coach you when you fuck up? How would you like me to coach you when you say you're going to do certain things and you don't do them? I don't have many people who respond well to being yelled at, being treated like a toddler, being talked at. People want to be this is a conversation. People want to be talked with, not talked at. So probably that FTO, I mean, granted, now it's just a different approach. And I think it just depends on, again, like kind of like coaching. It's like, I think the good coaches know how to just do one style, but they're not flexible with their approach.
Yeah.
I feel like a great FTO knows how to talk differently to a recruit so they can still get the same result.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you're just going to be stuck in your own one way, well, then like, I don't know, then if quote unquote, like that same person's now my student, how would he like to be treated if I'm like, you can only lose weight by tracking calories and macros. You can only lose weight if you do 2-hour workouts. And if you don't do that, then you're just complaining.
Yep.
So
absolutely,
that would be my answer to that.
Well, and another point to add to another coaching style would be just really knowing your players, where some players thrive off of you yelling at them in the sense of being passionate, redirecting them. And then there's some players, that if you do yell, they're going to break down, start moping, whatever. So you have to adapt to maybe the style of your player.
Yeah.
And how they learn.
Yeah. I mean, I read this book. It's been 5-6 years since I read it. But I think he was the strength and conditioning coach for the Patriots. It's named Brett Bartholomew. But he's got a book called like Conscious Coaching. And what he talks about is that, like, again, like he can't just train all of his athletes the same way, especially for a professional sports team. Some people have different backgrounds. They respond differently. He's not going to get the result of a championship team if he treats everybody the same. So he actually divides people into almost like archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it's like, hey, here are like different qualities of this archetype. Here are his strengths. Here's his weaknesses. This is how we coach him. So by him taking the time to identify all these archetypes, he's like, oh, well, this athlete is this way. So for me to get the best result out of him, I should do more of this, less of this. Because at the end of the day, he's going to get paid for the result he gets. Gotcha. So same thing if you take it as from a coaching standpoint, or really an FTO kind of in a way as a coach. As you said, if you kind of know hey, here are the tasks that they have to meet. And if you can kind of mold of how you communicate with this recruit, at the end of the day, like, I mean, there are just maybe some recruits. There are some recruits like, yeah, they should never be a police officer. But then it's like, okay, then how can they maybe not flunk out of one police department and then they thrive at another?
Yeah.
Could it be different standards? Possibly. Or could it be like where the FTO is coaching that individual differently and treating them differently?
It's funny in grad school, especially for like counseling and therapy, we have the same process. We call it, I think it's safeguarding or, oh God, I'll think of it. But the term is just based on, okay, through your graduate experience, we're already seeing too many red flags from you when it comes to being a therapist. So we're going to end your career right now. We're not going to let you go through the program. And obviously they would have a formal conversation with a grad student about this. But the interesting thing is, though, so this school says, okay, they're not emotionally healthy to be a therapist. But I thought, okay, there's a kink to the system, because what if that student just goes to, let's say, Bethel University and goes to their counseling program? Bethel doesn't know that, let's say, the U of M pretty much like kicked them out or whatever. And they can go try to be a therapist somewhere else. Where what you just mentioned, it seems like it's similar, right? You can just go to another academy then if it doesn't work.
Well, right. So, I mean, we'll take it from my personal experience. I mean, so I started out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I flunked out of their FTO program. Now, I didn't do anything like crazy, like on the street to where like made newsworthy and that kind of stuff. I just looking back, I wasn't emotionally mature, and I hung on to mistakes. It's kind of like that. It's like that quarterback who throws an interception, and that quarterback needs to get over that interception and go out for the next drive. Yeah. I was the quarterback per se, always worried about that interception and always trying to be perfect. Yeah. And then every time I made a mistake, I just dwelled on it.
That's
and by the time that you compile that, then it's like, okay, then it's these mistakes pile on this mistakes. So anyway, but when I applied to my departments in Minnesota, then they would have talked with Sioux Falls and been like, hey, so because obviously I have them on my resume. Obviously, they would want to, because better to have them on a resume, like, hey, you worked somewhere versus that you didn't. Why? And then just being upfront and honest. And then they can just take that and, I'm sure, I don't know what Sioux Falls would have said about me, but I'm sure obviously well, he didn't flunk out week one, but here were some of the things that we saw and he just didn't adapt. And then there was a department that trusted me and hired me and went through their FTO process. Okay. So, and then made it on the street. So, yeah. So there is transparency of at least in the way they talk to the department that I flunked out of per se. And they just asked them okay, well, what happened? And then it's okay, then they took it and they still hired me though.
Okay. That's awesome. It's just like switching jobs where, let's say someone goes to one job in the same industry and after 3 weeks, they're like, hey, this isn't for me, I quit. But yet they go to another job, or let's say a different treatment center, and they do really well there. They get along with the staff. They enjoy the environment better, and they last there for 3 years too. So there's a lot to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, And that's just like any job industry. Same with like law enforcement, to where that, and there was like a Police One article that I remember seeing years ago, to where like, if you feel like quitting your career, first try just changing agencies to see. Because I've had some people leave our agency, and I mean they were in the dumps of their career, and then they went to a different department, and then they love their career.
Yeah.
They love it.
Yep.
So it is about, I mean, that's just like any job, to the culture of the organization, the leaders of the organization. And if it's a great culture and great leaders, guess what? You're going to have officers who are going to want to stay around for a long time, and they just gloat about you. Or you could have a toxic leadership. You could have toxic culture. And then you have people leaving, or people just like, yeah, you shouldn't come here. Like, like they talk to you like, oh, you have an opening. Like, yeah. So it depends, but that's just like any job organization.
Do you guys have like Google reviews too, or Indeed reviews? I know, especially for treatment. No, but it helps though. You can go to the reviews, and past staff.
Yeah, not that I'm aware. I mean, because like Google reviews, I mean, you Google a police department, it might be a 1-star or whatever. It's because probably a citizen was given a ticket or arrested when they felt that it was unjustified. So like, I'd say most of the time when you Google, it's people who felt unpleasant about their experience with the police officer. It's not necessarily about the best way that you're going to learn about an agency is just you talk to the people who work there, and you just go to the source. You're not going to find a review site. I know what you're saying, but not that I'm aware of. No review site for of an agency.
Like you couldn't see like a police officer who was angry, quit their job, but then left their place a bad review.
Well, could they leave a bad review to like the actual, like they talk to their sheriff or their police chief or whatever? Sure. Now, are they going to put something publicly? I mean, I'm sure you could find some examples, but that's not really. I mean, even in my case, or in my opinion, like, okay, now if I see an officer, if I'm an admin of another agency, and I see that officer speak that of another department, for one, there's two sides to every story.
Yep.
I don't think publicly shaming a police department isn't necessarily like professional. There's one thing that's like a deserving and also professional. It's like one of those things of like praise in public, punish in private, or just have those conversations behind doors.
Yep.
Because if I'm looking for an officer, and even if this guy is or gal is high quality marks, good resume, well, what if they now talk poorly about my agency? Exactly. You don't know that. So has it ever happened? I'm sure it has, but not that I would say it's a big practice where people publicly shame their agency. Now, maybe they might post something on their Facebook, and they might post about their disgruntles, but they don't. They keep some. I'd say most of the time, then they at least keep the name of the agency out of it. So now, unless you personally, if you personally know that person, then like, oh, I know what agency he's talking about. But I would see that more common than where they just keep the name of the agency out of it.
Yes. All the drama. You gotta stay out of it.
Yeah, you do.
So now getting to more of the fitness aspect. So your time on the police force, you're going through life, and when was the time that you actually recognized the importance of fitness in law enforcement? Or did you always just have that passion about fitness, and you always known the importance of fitness?
Well, my fitness journey started in the academy, or not the academy, my 2-year college degree.
Okay.
So again, I was this like kid in high school that's played sports, but I wouldn't say I was athletic. Scrawny, skinny fat, and I put on 20 pounds from my junior to senior year by eating peanut butter sandwiches, ice cream, and milk. Now I packed on weight for football, but it wasn't the good weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the fitness journey started in my college career. And then once I became known as like one of the fitness guys, like, hey, he's crushing his physical fitness tests, super strong, super fast. So I became a passion of mine, carried over into the military. And even when I started my police career, like, yeah, that was just kind of part of who I am. But like, so did I know for myself, like, of why it's important? Yeah, because if you're going to chase after bad guys and catch them, you can't be out of shape. If you want to wrestle a meth head into cuffs, you kind of have to have not only that endurance, but that strength as well. You have to have that power. I felt like that where it became more apparent, it was always apparent to me when I was at my highs. Say like when I was working out, when I was eating right. It became more apparent when I was at my lows, which was probably post George Floyd.
Okay.
In Minnesota. Obviously, that's where it happened in Minneapolis, as well as being as a police officer, Minnesota National Guard as a military police, going to Minneapolis, St. Paul, activated so many times. And then like kind of like the turmoil, the things afterwards of people leaving our agency, being criticized for the uniforms that we wear, without not even knowing me. So mentally, emotionally, that I felt like it was like a me against the world feeling.
Yeah.
Overtime shifts that were, hey, like we want the overtime shift for the extra money. Now people don't want to take the mandatory overtime because they feel overworked. They don't care about the time and a half and that kind of stuff when it's almost like a scarcity, like, oh, you don't get overtime often. Yeah, I'll take it. Now when it's all the time. So I felt overworked. I felt pissed off. I was eating gas station food, Quick Trip specifically. Minnesotans, we love our Quick Trip.
Yes, we do.
Eating that 3 times a week because I didn't care of packing something right. And then me going home at the end of shift where generally I was a social drinker. But then when I'm now having 2 or 3 doubles of Jameson ginger a night, that's when I knew, hey, it's when it started affecting me personally. When I'm a coach, I was coaching part-time at the YMCA, at a local mortar gym. So as the cop who was the quote unquote fitness guy, and now like with this stress of COVID, with the stress of the big police reform push, seeing officers you look at Minneapolis, they're down like 300 some cops, and that kind of stuff. That's when I'm like, wow, like, yeah, now law enforcement needs more help. Now, obviously, their physical health was always known.
Yeah.
But more the mental and emotional. Cops don't have like heart attacks because of eating too many donuts. They might have heart attacks because of the stress of the job. So I'd say it became more apparent after George Floyd when, especially in the police reform cities wanted their jobs and all that stuff.
And I want to ask your honest opinion. So do you feel like police officers, EMS, they just don't have enough access to therapeutic services? So in general, they need more organizations to help them? Or how do you think it can be improved when it comes to like the mental and emotional health?
One, I think, one, we're not limited by our resources. We're limited by our resourcefulness. It's like a Tony Robbins thing. But most cities, most counties, most agencies, offices are going to have at least an EAP, an employee assistance program. So there is some assistance with, that's kind of like your bare bones assistance. Now, again, because I can speak of the agencies that I've been a part of or what I've seen, at least kind of like in the Minnesota the metro agencies, they are getting more support. For instance, like for my agency, it's like, okay, there's a mandatory checkup for the neck up, but then you're given at least 6 free sessions a year. So, so there are services out there, especially like the agencies that want to be very proactive. They do that. And then more agencies are doing things such as working out on duty. My agency, went to that. So you're allowed to work out on duty.
Okay.
Take it above that level of like, okay, they now have an incentive program. Like if you score certain scores on a fitness test annually, you could earn time off and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I saw there's even one agency, I believe, and obviously I'm not going to list the agency, but like where they're awarded, if there's calls, if there's officers allowed, you can take like a quick tactical nap on duty. So like there are ways where people get support and resources. It is whether that officers want to seek help. Now, one of the things that, because it's like, well, I wouldn't say it's a limiting belief of officers not wanting to ask for help, because where people call us for 911, people call us in emergencies.
Yeah.
They're used to prioritizing everybody else before themselves. They're the people that they will run into a school building with an active shooter, sacrifice their life for for kids they don't personally know. A firefighter will run into a burning house to save a family that they may not know. So then they will also like do it in their own personal lives where like, I want to spend more time with my family. I get it. I want to spend more time with my spouse. I get it. But so going back to the resources thing, like it's kind of like that first responder guardian heart. When you prioritize everyone else, plus you feel like that, hey, like I just don't need the help. I'm fine. It's kind of old school mentality of tighten up the bootstraps. This for the week. There's a reason why then there's like so many cardiovascular disease, cancer, depression, alcoholism, suicide, go down the list, because they don't want to be proactive and seek that help. So to answer your question, I believe there are resources. Do some departments have more accessible resources? But it's just kind of your mindset to it. Like you can focus on all the things that you don't have resources, or you can figure out things that you do have and try to get them.
So I have a buddy who's on the Minneapolis police force, and I talked to him because I want advice, because again, I want to start doing groups and everything. And he's like, you're probably going to have your best luck with the police officers between the ages of like 18 and 35, because they're more of the generation that grew up with less stigma around mental health. But he says the huge problem, I think we talked a little bit about this earlier, is that, a lot of cops and firefighters, like they've gone through a lot of traumatic experiences, and their mentality could be like, well, why should I tell you? You don't know what it's like to have gone through what I've gone through. So what is me telling you gonna do? It's not gonna do anything good or whatever. So it's like trying to get around that, I guess, try to help the police officers. But that's kind of his viewpoint on it.
Well, sometimes, again, like just talking it out, while it won't resolve the issue, it might relieve the stress.
Yeah.
Me telling someone to work out their stresses, like if they had a horrible shift And we know that workout's a stress reliever, not a stress resolver. It's not going to resolve the things that you saw on shift. It's not going to resolve some of the issues that you might have at home, but at least have you feel better, so that when someone has more energy as in like emotionally positive, neutral, and negative energy, you're more likely to make better choices, make better decisions, because you feel better.
Absolutely.
So will talking this stuff out, like, sure, no, it won't resolve it. Now, again, that's just kind of like, then, okay, if you feel like that, you talking to a younger cop because they just don't understand. Well, like, sure, like, I don't understand, but I don't have to be in your shoes to want to be able to help.
Yeah.
I mean, think of all the people that want to help Army veterans.
Yeah.
Or Marines. Do all the people that want to help out the military have to actually sign up and do it?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
But you show up that you care and that you want to help them. Now, does it help over that relatability? Sure. But then there are some people who are at least trying to understand.
Yes.
Where they're coming from.
Absolutely. Showing that empathy.
Yeah.
So now I'm really excited to hear about how you started Blue Line Fitness and where that idea came from.
Really, again, it's funny because for a while when I was working at a brick and mortar gym, think of like, when I say it's like a local, say, box gym. It's not a chain like Anytime Fitness. Yep. The one I was working at, think of CrossFit, but not the intensity of it, not the egos with it. It's full body movements, strength training, barbells, kettlebells, that stuff. Yep. I thought, I want to own one of those local gyms.
Nice.
And I told my owner at that time, like, when she started it, because I got into coaching at that gym when it opened, I'm like, I want to be a part-time owner. But then when I saw the stresses of owning a local gym, whether it's the taxes, the building itself, staffing, getting memberships, being stuck in one location, I saw all the challenges. And when it was happening again, post George Floyd, and at this box gym, we had a small tactical athlete program. We had strength and conditioning exercise programming for people who are firefighters, law enforcement, EMS, stuff. So I was helping at least write some stuff for those individuals. So then I thought, well, what if I do that as just a job, but then I also provide nutrition coaching, emotional and mental fitness coaching, or say like mindset coaching per se. And I do it all online because I can't really open up a local box gym and be like, this is only a cop gym. Unless you're in a large city. And then if you're in a large city, then I'm like, okay, well, especially like post George Floyd, I'm like, okay, is my building going to get burned down or whatever? Right. So then I'm like, you know what? Like, I just, there are times when I thought that no one had my back, whether it's that the media, politicians, now more of the general politics or more of the general population were like, fuck the police and that kind of stuff. When I felt like no one had my back, I'm like, I want to have a cop's back. Yeah. And so that's when I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start Blue Line Fitness. I thought about, do I have like something like first responder fitness or something like that? But at the same time, I'm like, I love firefighters. I love dispatchers. Like, I never was one. And quite frankly, for some of the specific problems and the emotional, mental stuff that I went through, I'm like, I want to be quote unquote a little selfish and help people who I know went through similar stuff that I did. So now when I speak about Blue Line Fitness, I have firefighters, dispatchers, correctional officers, all these kind of people inside my program. Yeah, it's kind of how Blue Line Fitness started.
Nice. That's cool. And do you have any type of specialized workouts? Because I know you love your kettlebells. I see you in your videos all the time, which is awesome.
Yes. Well, yeah. So I guess my workouts, what I call my Code 3 exercise system, not only to try to help people get fast results like driving Code 3, lights and siren, but we focus on 3 main things. 1, increasing your metabolism. Most people's metabolisms are slow. It's not because of your genetics, it's because you trained your metabolism to be slow. So our workouts focus on increasing your metabolism. So you're burning more calories sitting here talking on a podcast or sitting in your patrol car. But it's not just important to increase your metabolism, because while most people want to lose weight and body fat, and that's great, but you also don't work a cubicle job. You need to be strong, and you also have to have endurance. So that's the other 2 pieces. So not only 1, do we increase your metabolism, but 2, we increase your endurance. You're not only just, people think of aerobic endurance, say of going after a guy, whether in a foot chase that's like 200 meters or a 2-mile canine track. Yeah. But strength endurance, like how long can I endure my strength into wrestling someone in handcuffs? People just focus on, okay, well, I'm just going to do powerlifting or bodybuilding. Well, I'm sorry, if the fight lasts longer than 30 seconds, all the things that you train for your strength and everything is down.
Exactly.
We need to improve your strength, endurance, and your power along with it. And then can we add some muscle so you kind of fill out your shirts and feel confident? So that's the 3rd piece: increase your strength and muscle with it. Okay.
And is there a time period for when they sign up with you? Like, is there like a 6-month program, 9-month program, or?
So my Cop Transformation Academy, that's the first program that people get into. It's 4 months. Okay. But then after that, because while you might accomplish your first goals, when people want to make it a lifestyle, it takes 16 to 18 months to make it a lifestyle. You're not going to do that in 4 months. You're going to create some good habits in 4 months, but you're not going to make it a lifestyle. So then after my Cop Transformation Academy, we have my FTO program. Okay. It's kind of like, if you kind of look through the academy is the fundamentals of being a police officer. But where the real work starts is when you're on the job training, or FTO. Okay. So that's my 1-year program after the academy. So in essence, okay, if we get you to a strength, body fat composition or body fat composition or a weight you're happy with, depending upon how much weight you need to lose, you may or may not reach that. How do we maintain that while we're getting your strength up, we're getting your endurance up, your muscle up, so you can maintain that weight, but you're also strong and agile for the street. Excellent. And I even have another level program, my Tactical Athlete program, beyond that. So those are for people of they want to be elite, elite strength, elite conditioning, and that kind of stuff.
Very good stuff. Now, as we wrap things up, would you like to talk about Police Week, which I think is next week?
Yes. So Police Week, every agency knows that, or at least, it gets nationally recognized just for all the law enforcement officers that, unfortunately aren't with us today. At the same time, then too, with Veterans Day, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, you have a day to recognize veterans who are alive, and then you have Memorial Day for the fallen. Now, there's not really a nationally recognized day for law enforcement. Now, there technically is a Law Enforcement Appreciation Day in January, but it kind of goes under the radar. So because of Police Week, like because of the sacrifices and the dangers that people have when they choose this job, I want to give people the best service, or quote unquote the best deals, for, you know, being a law enforcement officer. So I am doing a Police Week giveaway with some of these bonuses that I've never offered to 6 officers. I choose 6 because I have your 6, I have your back, but also then it gets close to maximizing my student roster. But for this Police Week giveaway, I have 6 spots for everyone who applies and is accepted, gets 30 days of free coaching. So normally it's a 4-month program. Now it's like 5 months. So you get 30 days of free coaching. You get monthly progress evaluation calls with me to keep you on track. You get my Code 3 exercise workouts, so you don't need a gym membership. Your workouts can be less than 45 minutes. And as we talked about, they shed fat, increase your muscle endurance. A one-on-one kickoff call with me. You get a fridge and pantry raid audit. So we look through your pantry and your fridge to like optimize it, to like get rid of the crap, or at least maybe hold on to the stuff that's really needed. Yep. A patrol shift meal and go bag breakdown. So like what's the best foods to bring to work, but also keeping your squad, or even knowing the best food options at a gas station and fast food if you forgot to pack one. My best cop recipes, your breakfast, dinners, desserts, snacks. Cops like their snacks, all included. Voice note and text accountability, free August community challenge entry. So I have like inner community challenges. So you get a free entry into August. But yeah, it's only for the 6 people, and the good time of applying and getting accepted now too is my prices will increase in June. So then you will get locked in at the price with all those bonuses that I described on top of it. So I have a giveaway to people who are apply and accepted. Those who apply and get accepted also get put into a drawing. And the winner of that drawing will be getting a Z Grills wood pellet grill and smoker, an 8-in-1 barbecue smoker and grill, 560 square feet, and cooking area, not square feet, 560 square inches. That'd be a heck of a 560 feet. My goodness. 560 square inches of cooking area. So when you have your summer barbecues and cookouts, so if you apply and you get accepted, you'll get put into a drawing to win that smoker grill. So that is my giveaway for Police Week. But last and not least, I also run a officer down obstacle course.
Nice.
So for you being in Minnesota, it's actually hosted in Hastings, Minnesota.
Nice.
But we have an obstacle course there. It's at United Heroes League, but the proceeds of that event go to the families of Josh Owen and Hunter Shield. Both of them were killed in the line of duty last year. So we are honoring them. And the proceeds will be split in half to go to those 2 families. That is May 19th. And if you just, I could provide the web link. Perhaps. But essentially it's blueline-fitness.com/officer down obstacle course. Nice. And you should be able to find it.
Excellent. Well, again, Justin, like I said, man, it was a pleasure having you on the show. I had so much fun. I learned so much from you.
Thank you.
Before we end things, could you inform my audience of some type of way to contact you, like website, email? So if they have any additional questions, they could message you.
Sure. So my email is justin@blueline-fitness.com. That is my email. You could find me on Facebook, Justin.Hesse71, I think, or just search Justin Hesse. Basically, if you find a guy that's got a police uniform on, and then holding my son on my shoulders with a hat on, that'll be me. You could even find my free cop Facebook group, basically Blue Line Fitness, helping cops shed fat and gain muscle quick and easy. Nice. So those are the main ways to get a hold of me.
Well, excellent. And to all my audience members, all those links will be on the show notes. So it will be one click away to contact with Justin. So you should have no problems with that.
Yes. So yeah, thank you for having me on, Jacob. This was fun. We should do it again.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, we definitely got to meet up down the road again and do this. This is awesome.
Yeah. And if your audience has like more specific topics that we can go into, again, I'm an open book. What doesn't mean, yes, we can talk about workouts and nutrition, but we all know, as we kind of talked about a little bit, sometimes it's our mental and emotional fitness, our limiting beliefs, our self-talk to get in the way. So we can also talk about applying such workouts and nutrition in your lives.
Absolutely. Cannot wait for that.
Yes.
All right. Well, until next time, my friend, thank you.
Thank you.
I again want to thank Justin for being an awesome and amazing special guest on my show. I really learned a lot from him and the many great things that he's doing. And please, everyone, please support his Blue Line Fitness, helping cops burn the fat, add muscle. I just want to thank all of my listeners for your support. And just to inform everyone that the information expressed in this episode was not meant to be taken as therapeutic advice. If you do find yourself struggling with any type of mental health or addiction issues, please seek the care of a medical doctor or a licensed mental health therapist. And if anyone has any further questions for me, you can reach me at my email address, behaviorhealthintegration121@gmail.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Jacob Menig, where you will find more educational posts on psychotherapy, trauma, and addiction. And finally, you can follow me on my website, which is behaviorhealthintegration.org. I also want to inform everyone that there is a great new device out there called CalmiGo. It's a breathing device meant to control and manage your breathing rates and the depth of your breathing as you inhale and exhale to, again, help relieve any type of anxiety and stress-like symptoms. And if you do put the BHI podcast into the promo code, you get $30 off this amazing device. It is a once-in-a-lifetime deal, and you will not be disappointed. All right, everyone, until next time, have a good day. Bye.